Hello, everyone. Harry here to talk about the Dominion defamation lawsuit against Fox and a new filing that revealed some mind-bending comments and attitudes from the people at Fox, reporters, executives, producers, everybody. To cut to the chase, basically top to bottom, with a couple exceptions, they all knew that the big lie was the big lie, notwithstanding which they continued to just publish it out again and again, and just knowingly lie to their listeners and carry the Trump line that the election had been taken from them. Let me set the lawsuit a little bit in context. So a huge $1.6 billion lawsuit by Dominion. There's another one by another Smartmatic, another company that markets election software. Dominion was really sort of Rudy Giuliani and others picked up on them. And then it went just crazy and viral within the Trump camp, especially the likes of Sidney Powell. And in general, in cases like this, when there's a libel suit, usually there's been a reporter who's maybe been a bit rogue or sensationalist. Maybe the fact check system failed a little, but it is very, very hard to get verdicts for plaintiffs since the Supreme Court in 1964 decided the landmark case of New York Times versus Sullivan, which holds basically that you have to be able to show by clear and convincing evidence that the media actually knew what it was saying was a lie, and or else was reckless, kind of had suspicions and put their heads in the sand. Okay. We have these amazing quotes. Last week, Dominion filed a motion for summary judgment. So they already got over the motion to dismiss stage, and they're having depositions and that kind of discovery. And they filed something which on Friday we heard some of, and yet a lot of it was redacted. They've moved to release more, but just with what we see, it's totally damning of Fox. So basically, let's see. We have like top to bottom people saying Sidney Powell. We have Laura Ingraham saying she's a total liar, totally nuts. My personal favorite. There's a Fox reporter who tweets out a fact check. She's checking the facts that say there was no evidence of fraud. That's accurate in the, or that Trump lost any votes. Tucker Carlson's reaction to this is, what the F? Please get her fired immediately. It needs to stop immediately, like tonight. It's measurably hurting the company. The stock price is down. And here's what's going on. On actual election night, just before midnight, Fox called the election in Arizona for Biden. We know that's the way it works, right? The network's jockey for who can be first. And they were right, and they called it first. But it turned out to greatly alienate the Trump faithful. And some of them, at least, seem to be going to an even farther right station, if you can get your mind around that, Newsmax, that was just picking up on the whole, crazy set of Trump claims. And that put the fear of ratings in the Fox folks all the way up to Rupert Murdoch. So they decided they just had to go pedal to the metal. It's kind of despicable in a way. They know they're lying. In a sense, they're pandering to their watchers, or to keep them in the fold. In a sense, they're treating them with contempt, or as kind of ignoramuses, right? People, they, the actual anchors, they know what's really going on. They're too sophisticated not to, and yet they're feeding all their listeners this, total horse manure. Okay, many other things. showing not evidence of fraud. Murdoch wrote that some of the Trump stuff, especially that Sidney Powell was saying, is really crazy stuff. Hannity testifies that Sidney Powell stuff, I didn't believe it for 1 second. And yet you have Sidney Powell on screen during these days, and they're just broadcasting her allegations as if they were true. Laura Ingraham says it's insane. Tucker Carlson says Powell is lying. She's an effing nutcase, writes Carlson's producer. Really, the hits just keep on coming. And as I said, these are not, there's many others that have been redacted. Now, because of the state of the law, New York Times versus Sullivan, it's very rare even to get to trial in these kinds of cases. But here, they have this really vivid evidence that Fox, and not just one or two people, but sort of, all up and down the tree, actually knew it was false. And that means it's going to be a very, very, if it goes to trial, and it's scheduled to go in just a couple months, it's going to be a very serious threat to Fox. They've brought in a man who's considered one of the top trial lawyers in the country to kind of prepare for it. And I think that's an indication that Dominion is in no mood to let him off easy. It could settle because on the one hand, Dominion has him dead to rights, I think, on liability, but Dominion has really kind of gone to trying to sort of shoot the moon on damages. And the logical thing would be for damages to be reduced and Fox to pay the reduced amount. And then I think Dominion's going to be insisting on some kind of apology and the like. The headline here is something you basically never see in libel lawsuits, just top to bottom, a whole media company. And I mean, I guess we can call them a media company. I'm very hard pressed to call them a news organization, but a media company is putting out there for their listeners things they know are false, and not just trivial issues, right? But going to, did Trump win the election, or are his claims of it having been stolen from him accurate? In other words, the very claims that roiled the country and led to January 6th. And even with all the protections the First Amendment provides, they're in a world of hurt for possible liability. And there's just going to be all these quotes at trial. And it seems that we don't even know the half of it. So that's coming up in a couple months. Unless there's a settlement, it's going to be, one of the 5 biggest libel trials since New York Times versus Sullivan was decided, maybe one of the top 3. And it's just startling to see a whole company basically throw away the truth, the supposed coin of the realm, in order to have ratings and kind of burnish their brand and make sure to maintain their monopoly among people who buy the big lie. So in a sense, couldn't get more Trumpy than that, right? You forget about the truth and just care about the brand. That's where we are now. It is really looking precarious for Fox in a way that doesn't normally happen. More to come, and then a trial that will be really, could be really sensational and result not just in a huge financial verdict, but a huge reputational hit for Fox and its justly precarious reputation as a news organization. Okay, there you have it. More to come, and when it does, I'll be back to give it to you. Until then, talk to you later. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video and other Talking Feds content, please take a second to like and subscribe. Talk to you later.